Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What is the right way to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? An option for me? Right here in the middle. How do you make peanut butter and jelly? Hey, that's one way to make peanut butter and jelly. Just peanut butter. I like it. Personally, I'm an uncrustable guy. They're nice and easy. Takes no effort at all. I know. Say what you will. But what I want you guys to think about is why is that how you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I know we're getting very philosophical about PB&J right now, but just go with me. Maybe it's because that's how your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa made it for you growing up. Maybe your uncle or your tia, right? Bilingual up here now. But something at some point in time started to form your experience that told you that was the right way to make a peanut butter and jelly. Maybe it's just simply that's how you like to eat them. It tastes the best to you. Maybe someone came to the cafeteria one day with a PB&J that blew your mind, revolutionized the way you do peanut butter and jelly. The first time I saw someone put peanut butter on both sides of the bread, mind blown, it doesn't make through the bread. See, there we go, right? Fun fact about peanut butter and jelly. What you could also do is you could mix the jelly and peanut butter in a bowl so it's all mixed evenly and then put it on. There's different ways to do it. You guys are getting it. Okay. We reject that idea. All right. Well, fortunately for you guys, that's not the point of anything I'm about to say. The reality is we have things that happen in our life that start to form the way we do things. And maybe at this point in time you're wondering, where on earth in the Bible does it talk about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? And it's in 2 Hesitations 3, verse 4. Just kidding, Hesitations isn't in the Bible. But what that thought does get you to do is, I want you to just think about what are all the different things in your life that have happened, that you've seen, that you've experienced, that someone's told you, that has gone into forming the way you think about yourself. What I'm going to say is, those things that go into forming your identity. See, identity is a big part of who we all are, and I think it's actually a good thing. I think God gave us this identity for a reason when it's used correctly. But it's cool because we all have different things that form our identity. We all have different physical bodies. We're all good at different things. Some of us are smart. Some of us are athletic. Some of us are athletic and smart, and we all secretly hate people like that, so if that's you, sorry. But we all have different things that form our identity. We're all different. But it is interesting when you start to think about, if I were to ask you the question, who are you? How would you answer that? Who are you? What would you say with that? And hold on to that thought. We're going to get back to it. So we started a series last week called Jesus. We're talking about who Jesus is, and we're answering kind of two questions. Who is Jesus, and why should we care? Always a great question. Why should you care about things? And what we talked about last week was that Jesus is the most popular person, the most famous person in all of history. Everyone has talked about him, and he has started the biggest movement that anyone has ever started in the history of the world. And just to kind of prove all the different ways we view Jesus, I kind of threw a bunch of different things up there. Those are all the different ways people view Jesus. What we said last week was, if Jesus is God, which I believe he is, he came to earth that he could fully know you, fully love you, and fully forgive you. This week we're going to look at one of the very first stories that we get about Jesus in the Bible. Before we get there, I want to talk about kind of what led up to it. So some of you right now, you're a boss, like complete boss. You've got your life figured out, you know what you want to do, when you want to do it, and you are on that path right now. You are grinding, you've got victory in your eyes, you're set on it, you're going. And if that's you right now, I just want to challenge you with, if Jesus has started the biggest movement in the history of the world, maybe there's a lesson you can take from how he started. And so we see Jesus do two things before he starts his ministry. He did nothing up until age 30, and his ministry was only 3 years long before he was killed. The first two things he did. First thing, he got baptized. We see the first story, he's getting baptized by a guy named John. And what baptism is for us is it's just a declaration, it's a public declaration of a private decision we've made to say, I believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins. That's why you go down in the water. And as you get raised up, you're being raised to life in his resurrection. It's just a public declaration of that. But why Jesus did it was, one, to set an example for us to follow, and two, it was kind of his coming out party that his ministry was starting. And it was him saying, I believe in God, I believe in this mission, and I'm on it right now. But then the very next thing that happened, so Jesus decided he's going to go all in with God. He's going to follow God's plan. Very next thing is, it says the Spirit leads him into the wilderness to be tempted. And Jesus fasts for 40 days and 40 nights. And he's tempted by the devil. So I want to pick up right there. If you have a Bible, we're going to be in Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. I'm going to read the whole story, then we're going to talk about it. If you don't have a Bible, we're also going to have it up on the screen. So Matthew chapter 4, verse 11. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you. And on their hands they will bear you, lest you strike your foot against a stone." Jesus said to him, "Again, it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." Then Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and behold, the angels came and were ministering to him. So the best thing you can do when you're reading the Bible is point out all the really weird things. Because I think sometimes we read the Bible, and because it's in the Bible, we just kind of ignore weird things. So here's what we have happening in the story. You have Jesus, you have the devil, you have angels, and you have teleportation. Like, that's kind of weird, right? But so I want to talk about a couple of things tonight. You're going to hear me use the word tempted and tested kind of back and forth, and I'll tell you kind of why here in a second. But here's what's going on. Jesus goes out into the desert to be tempted or to be tested. And in those 40 days, he comes to the very end of it. So fasting, if you don't know, you just give up something to focus on prayer with God. And so Jesus is fasting, he's praying, he's getting ready to start his ministry. And at the end of it, he's tired, he's hungry, and the devil's thinking, like, he's weak right now. How many of you know the devil wants to tempt you and test you most when he sees that you are weak? When he sees that you're tired, when he sees that you're hungry, when he sees that you're exhausted, he's going to come after you. But here's what Jesus does, right? Because even though Jesus appeared to be weak, he had been focusing his mind on God, and so his mind was right. Turn to your neighbor and tell them the title of my message tonight, Get Your Mind Right. Your mind right. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. Alright, so why on earth is this story in the Bible? Another good thing to ask. No story is in the Bible on accident. So why is this story in the Bible? 3 things for you tonight. We're going to cruise through these. We're going to hop into small groups, so hang with me. First thing, this story is in the Bible because you are going to be tempted and you are going to be tested, and it is here to let you know. Second reason this story is in the Bible, so when you are tempted and when you are tested, you have a God in Jesus right by your side who knows what you are feeling and is there for you and cares about you and can show empathy to you in that moment. The third thing is Jesus put this story in the Bible so we would know how to overcome temptings and temptations and tests, because he overcomes here. So the first thing, you are going to be tempted. Now, I see people get frustrated all the time in life, and honestly, even myself, when I reflect on why I get most frustrated, it's because of one word, expectations. We all have them, and they're the worst, because we expect things to happen in life. We have this masterful plan of how our life's going to play out, and over again in life, things just don't go our way. And it is a bummer, and it can be frustrating. I was reading a book, and I haven't finished it yet, but the author was talking about it. I say that because my wife did finish it, and I can't get up here and claim to have finished a book I didn't finish. She'll call me out on it later. She keeps me humble up here. I can't just make up stories to you guys. I'm reading a book, though, and the author, it's about dating, relationships, and sex. And the guy's talking about this girl that he meets. He's a pastor. She comes to him, and she's saying, she's a little bit older in life. She just says, I've been single my whole life. I don't know why I can't find the right guy. I just don't know what's going on. And the pastor's looking at her like, yeah, you're super successful. You're a good-looking woman. Like, maybe unpack some of just what's happening in relationships, what you're thinking. And she begins to tell him, I love this, absolutely love this. She says, well, I do have, expectations for the guy I'm going to marry someday. He needs to be tall, dark, and handsome. He needs to own his own businesses. He needs to be wealthy. He needs to be a pastor. Like, honey, I'm sorry, but he's not going to be a pastor, wealthy, and good looking. Like, you get 2 of those things, not 3, right? So if he's a pastor and he's good looking, he's not going to be wealthy. And if he's wealthy and a pastor, he's probably not going to be good looking. It's just the way it goes, right? Life isn't that good to you. But the point in telling you that story is she had expectations that were holding her back in life, because that happens to you with your expectations. Don't have the expectation that your life is going to be perfect. You are going to have hardships in life. You are going to go through tests. You are going to go through trials, and you are going to be tempted. I promise you that's going to happen, whether you want it to or not. First reason why it's in the Bible, so you know what's coming. Second reason, so Jesus knows what you were going through when you were tempted and when you have tests in your life. So I'm just going to talk about how I think, what I call the cycle of shame works. And I think this is really how the devil likes to tempt most of us. The reason I actually think about your identity is because the devil loves to come after your identity. And we live in a world where marketing companies make trillions of dollars of feeding us a bunch of BS about what our identity should be. They tell you exactly what you should wear, who you should listen to, what you should listen to, who you should hang out with, what you should buy. And truthfully, if we're honest with ourselves, we put our identity in a lot of things that fall apart. So here's what happens. I'll use myself for an example. When I was growing up, middle school, I had two things my identity was set in: sports and everybody liking me. And most of you have heard this story, but when I get to high school, things don't go my way. And not like everything just blows in my face, but things, someone doesn't like you. You don't make one of the teams you try out for. And you start to get down on yourself because your identity is so wrapped up in that you go, I don't even know who I am anymore. And at that moment, the devil comes to you, and he says something like this. So you think you're an athlete, right? Well, you didn't make the team. So I guess you're not really an athlete. And if you're not an athlete, well, no one's really going to like you because you have no identity now. And since no one's going to like you, you should just throw yourself into any relationship you can find, because if anyone's going to give you the time of day, you don't even deserve that. So just throw yourself into anything. Maybe for you, it's academics. You get a bad grade on a test, and the devil comes at you. Oh, you think you're smart? Then why'd you fail that test? Maybe you put your identity in your good looks. And you're thinking, I'm a good-looking person, but then someone comments something nasty on your Instagram, and pretty soon you can't stop staring at yourself in the mirror just thinking down about yourself. And the devil comes in that moment, and he attacks your identity, and he tells you you're not worthy anymore. And then he follows with that very next thought with, you could watch porn. That might make you feel good, might make you feel, needed or wanted for a split second. You should just go ahead and have sex with your boyfriend because, really you're not worth anything anyways. You should probably just lash out at your family because you're feeling like crap now, and you should just make them feel like crap as well. You should go to church and you should judge everybody because you know that even though, you're failing over here, I'm sure they're doing way worse things, and so it just becomes easier to judge them. You see how the devil works? That's how his temptation works. And what he does is he doesn't just make you do a 180 right away. Like if you're going down this path, he doesn't just turn you right around, but he slowly starts to nudge you. And then watch what happens. Now he doesn't come after you with your identity being as an athlete or as someone who is smart or good looking. He says, you're just a porn addict. That's all you are. You're just a liar. That's all you are. You're just hateful. You have an anger problem. That's why you lash out at your family. You're a hypocrite. That's why you keep judging people. You see how that lie just slowly grows and grows and grows? And here's what happens. When I say it out loud, you guys are like, no, that doesn't happen. But when it happens in your head, you believe those lies. The biggest battle you will fight in your life is going to be in your own head with the temptations that come from the devil. And let's be honest, some of you, maybe the test you're going through right now, maybe the circumstances you have, they weren't even actually your fault. Maybe life just dealt you a really crappy hand. Maybe people have been treating you wrongly, and it's not your fault at all. But you know what the devil will do in those moments? He'll take your joy away. He'll make you feel guilty about things that aren't actually your fault. Maybe he'll convince you that you deserve to be treated that way because you don't deserve anything better. And this cycle of shame just keeps going and going and going. But that's why it's such good news that Jesus goes through this, because in that moment, Jesus doesn't condemn you. Jesus isn't sitting next to you like, oh, here he goes again, screwing up. No, he sits next to you, and he says, just turn to me. He moves in close to you. He says, I know what you're going through. I know how much it hurts. I know how tempting it is. But I'm right here next to you. If you'll just turn and focus on me, I will be here for you. I will hold you, and we will get through this together. So it's very good news that this story is in the Bible, because Jesus is with you when you're going through the test, when you're going through the temptation. And the third reason, and this is so beautiful, is he shows you how to actually overcome it. So I want you to see something right here. He does two things every time the devil comes after him. The first thing he does is he knows and trusts exactly in God's plan. So the very last way the devil tempts him is this. The devil takes him to the highest place in Jerusalem, and I believe that he doesn't actually take him there. I think it's more of a vision. I don't think they're actually teleporting to all these different places. But he takes him there, and he shows him all of the world. He shows him all the kingdoms. He shows him all the glory, all the riches, all the power. He says, Jesus, I will give this all to you if you will bow down to me. And here's what's so interesting about it. Jesus was already going to get all those things. We know that Jesus is the king of the world, and this is all his kingdom. He has all the power, all the glory, all the riches you could ever need. But here's the trick, right? Because the devil wanted him to have it right then. And that's tempting because the way Jesus got the entire world was dying an excruciating and painful death on a cross. And the devil said, I can give you all of it right now. But Jesus trusted that God's plan was going to be the best plan. When you're going through trials in life, do not sell yourself short. Press on and trust in God's plan for your life. It's going to end up so much better than you could ever imagine. The very last thing, I want to say this real quickly, is Jesus knows his identity. The first two times the devil tries to tempt him, he comes at him with his identity. He goes, look at it. He goes, if you are the Son of God. Again, he says, if you are the Son of God. He comes out and says, test his identity. But Jesus is so firm in who he is. Jesus knows exactly who he is, and so he's not tempted at all. So that's what I want to say to you guys tonight. You need to know your true identity. You need to stand firm on your identity. Your identity is first and foremost an image bearer of God. God created you after his own image to have the same characteristics. That's why we can create things. That's why we can rule over things. That's why we have relationship and love. Those are all part of God's character that he puts in us as image bearers. So you have value. God also calls you his son and daughter. And he paid the ultimate price to make you his son and daughter by Jesus going to the cross to die for you. I just told you, Jesus had a way out. He didn't have to die for you. He could have had all the things he has. He could have ruled over the world and never saved any one of us. But he cares about you so much that he decided to do that. This cycle of shame, the devil, when he comes to you, he tries to diminish what Jesus has done for you. And it's pure evil. And it will absolutely destroy you if you let it. But if you trust Jesus as your Lord, if you believe in him, he is fighting on your behalf. And we know that we are going to win and have victory because he already did it. See, this is what's so cool. Because he overcame these temptations, you have the power and authority to speak to the devil and say, devil, get out of here. Not today. I'm not believing your lies. I know where my identity is rooted, and I'm not giving into those things. When the test comes, you say, you're not going to steal my joy. I know God is going to use this moment to bring me to further levels of glory after glory, all for Jesus' purpose for your life. Your true worth, your true meaning, and your true identity are all found in Jesus. And if you will accept that tonight, you can stand firm knowing that Jesus is fighting on your side. And you can have power over the temptations that the devil brings towards you. And you can speak truth into the lies that he tries to get you to believe. All in the power and authority that you have in the name of Jesus. Amen. Let's pray. Jesus, we thank you that you know what it's like to be tempted and tested. Because sometimes the devil gets us. And we're not always winning the battle. And he's hitting us over and over again with lies that cause shame in our life, that cause pain in our life. And if it wasn't for you overcoming, God, we would be lost. We would have no hope. But Jesus, when we call on your name, the devil flees because you already beat him. God, we trust that anything that comes in our life, you're going to work for the good of those who love you and are called according to your purposes. Jesus, we love you, and we love that you care enough about us to seek us out even when we won't turn to you. We pray that your Spirit would be over the rest of this night and in small groups. In your name, amen.
I don't understand. I can't